The Heilige Berditchever, the Kedushas Levi, the Berditchever, once saw a Yid. He saw a man running down the road. So the Berditchever said to him, Yid, Rabbi Yid, where are you going? Where are you running? So he turned around and he said, Rebbe, I'm running after my parnasa. So the Berditchever said, well, who told you parnasa is in that direction? Maybe it's in the other direction. I want to spend a few moments on the last share of this series of Business and Halacha discussing the sugya of Ishtadlus and results, H-Shem, in regards to parnasa, because a lot of people think that according to the effort they put in is the result that comes out of the other end. So Berditchever famously said that. The Chofetz Chaim said a different idea. The Chofetz Chaim once said that if a Yid wants to make a bit more geld, he wants to make more parnasa, so he imagines that the Chofetz Chaim, it's like a moshel of a person that has a barrel of wine, very expensive, nice, aged wine inside the barrel, and he's got like a tap, he's got a faucet, and the wine comes out. I want more wine. I need more wine. So he takes another tap, another faucet, he sticks it into the other side of the barrel. And this way, says the Chofetz Chaim, he thinks more wine is going to come out. But the answer is that's not the case. It's the exact same amount of wine that's in the barrel is going to come out, maybe a bit faster, but it's going to run out quicker. Said the Chofetz Chaim, that's exactly what happens when a person thinks he can make more money by doing more effort. There's a Moedik of Vilna Gaon. Listen to the Vilna Gaon. The Vilna Gaon is an Evan Shlema. The Vilna Gaon says sometimes when a person works extra hard and they're determined, I've got to make money, I've got to become wealthy, I've got to be a millionaire, and they work for that specific goal. Says the Vilna Gaon, sometimes they're actually successful and they do manage. However, their success will be detracted from their reward in the next world. And he brings a raya. The Vilna Gaon brings a raya from a Gemara. The Gemara tells us Rabbi Chanina ben Doisa and his wife was so poor. They were so poor they couldn't afford anything. And his wife, Rabbi Chanina ben Doisa's wife, was so embarrassed. All the friends are making challah before Shabbos and all the friends are making food during the week. She's got nothing to cook, nothing to bake. Her house is bare, the oven is empty, it's off. Like, what's going to be? I'm so embarrassed. So what did she do? She lit the oven every single Erev Shabbos so that the neighbors would at least think that she's baking challahs for Shabbos and something, whatever is the covered Shabbos, but the oven was empty because she had absolutely no flour to put inside the oven in order to bake the challahs. One time, she complained to her heilige husband, Reb Chanina ben Doisa, and she said, how long do we have to suffer with this poverty? It doesn't make any sense. Can you daven to Hashem that he should take a little piece of our olam haba and he should give it to us in this world, at least something. Can I know we got love olam haba? There was a little piece in this world, and well, at least we'll have some food. At least we'll have something to cook. I don't have to be so embarrassed for my neighbors. So Chanina ben Doisa said, no problem. He listened to his wife. He davened to the Rabbeinu Shalom, and as the Gemara said, a hand came down from Shemayim and gave them a leg of a golden table. So that's what happened, and they had a lot of money from that. His wife immediately had a dream that all the tzaddikim were sitting in Shemayim, sitting on a table of 3 legs, but they were sitting on a table of only 2 legs. So Rabbi Chanina ben Doisa said to her, does it bother you that all the tzaddikim will be sitting on a table of 3 legs, but we'll be sitting on a table with only 2 legs? She was very upset. She said, daven to Hashem, he should take away the leg. I don't want it. Take back the golden leg. Rabbi Chanina ben Doisa davened, and all of a sudden, as I state the Gemara, a hand miraculously came down from Shemayim and retrieved that golden leg. The Gemara says, by the way, the second miracle is greater than the first one because Shemayim never takes away. Okay. Zuk de Vilna Gaon. From this Gemara, what do we see? Zuk de Vilna Gaon, we see pshat in this Gemara that if a person is so insistent in becoming wealthy and making more and more money, could be the Rebbeinu Shalom will give it to him. But it will be taken from the cheshbon above. And that's why a person has to be careful. The Gemara in Brachos Lamed Gimel, famously, many of us did that. The Gemara in Brachos Lamed Gimel says, so what should a person do if he wants to make a parnasa? What's he meant to do? Says the Gemara, the earlier generations would make their Torah the ikar, and their work was the tofel, it was the secondary. And they would succeed in both. The later generation, says the Gemara, would make their work the ikar, and that's the primary, and they make their Torah and their avodas Hashem, they would make that the tofel. and they did not succeed, and they failed in both of them. The Chovos Halevavos in Shara B'tochen brings, what's the pshat? Why the Rabbeinu Shalom had to create a world where we have to go out to work. Why? Okay, Olam HaRishon, the Chet HaRishon, okay, Pseida. But to give us a pshat, says the Chovos Halevavos, why the Rabbeinu Shalom had to create a world we have to go to work? What do I have to go to work for? I need to make some, I want to have food for my family, I want to support the mishpacha. What do I have to go to work for? Says the Chovos Halevavos, very simple, two ideas. Two reasons, he says. Reason number one is a poshet test. It's a test. It's a test to see how loyal you are to the Rabbeinu Shalom. There's a lot of tests. When you're in the workplace, we've spoken about it for over 40 shiurim. How many shilas come up? How many situations come up? The Rabbeinu Shalom is testing you when you go to work, and it's a part of life to be tested to see how you are going to be loyal to the Rabbeinu Shalom. Reason number two, says the Chovos Halevavos, because if it was not necessary, he says, to go out and work to make a parnasa for the mishpacha, a person chas v'shalom would rebel against Hashem, and he would be more free to do averis. Sheish the Gemara in Baba Kama, Al Kaponim, says the Chovos Halevavos, these are the two reasons. But says the Gemara, don't think for a moment that the more effort you put in yields more results. It's not way. Mamish not nishnazai. The more you put in does not mean you make more money. It's not the pshat, says the Gemara, that the more effort you put in means the more results you're going to get. That's not how it works. Right? It doesn't make a difference how much effort you put in. You're going to get what the Rabbeinu Shalom decreed on Rosh Hashanah that you are going to receive that year. It's irrelevant how much effort you put in. Effort you have to put in. Avad you have to put in. Chovos Halevavos is a very big fan of Ishtadlus. You have to do Ishtadlus. It's very, very important. But don't think it's the Ishtadlus that does it. Don't think for a moment that it's the Ishtadlus that you put in, and the chokhmah of your business, and the effort that you put in, and the physical exertion, that's what makes the money. No. That's not what makes the money. What makes the money is the Rabbeinu Shalom giving it to you. Just we're living in a world, as the Chovos Halevavos explains, where b'derech hateva we need to do things. We need to go to work in order to make money, in order to support a family. But it's not that causes the money, it's the Rabbeinu Shalom. And he says even further, says the Chovos Halevavos, that if a person really believed that the Rabbeinu Shalom is giving him a parnasa, he's going to choose a parnasa accordingly. He won't choose a very hard parnasa. He's not going to choose a parnasa that makes him travel all over the world. He's never at home. He's not going to choose a parnasa that doesn't give him time to learn Torah, to daven, and everything else, because he knows the Rabbeinu Shalom makes the parnasa. It's not about him. He's going to choose a parnasa that works in the best way for his avodas Hashem, notwithstanding how much he makes. And that's a very important idea. There's a Mordechai Rabbeinu B'chaya I want to share with the Olam. Rabbeinu B'chaya writes in Parshas Noach, a Noyudik Gezach, such a simple idea, but so important. He makes a cheshbon. We know that Noach was told to build a teva. There was going to be a mabul. The Rabbeinu Shalom wanted to save Noach, mishpacha, animals for future generations. So the Torah tells us quite clearly that the dimensions of what the teva should be. How big, how wide, how tall, this and the other, or backwards and forwards, all the materials. And many of them are busy with the kasha. What do we need that for? Why do we need to know the exact detail of all the materials and the length and the width and the height? For what purpose do we need to know that? That's what many of the Mepharshim ask. We also know, as Rabbeinu B'chaya points out, there's no way that the animals could even fit inside the teva. Right, for example, they bring them in the cheshbon, right? The whole construction, right, was not so big. It was about 600 feet long, 100 feet wide, and 60 feet tall. Now, if you put those dimensions into some kind of perspective over here, all the animals in creation could not fit in that. Not only that, if you made 50 tevas, they wouldn't have fit in. Not only would the animals not have fit in, but all the food and provisions that you would need to support the animals to keep them going, and Noach's family as well, it wouldn't have happened. It's not Nekeah. It's Pashut not Negay if you take the dimensions. So Rabbeinu B'chaya tells us such an important idea. He says the reason why the Torah went out of its way to tell us the dimensions of every single item, so we should know what it is, even though we understand that there's no way the animals could have fit in there. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Is because, says Rabbeinu B'chaya, a person has to act b'derech hateva. A person has to act in the most normal way that makes things work in the way that he possibly can. Once I've exhausted all of my means, I'll leave the rest up to the Rabbeinu Shalom, and then a nace can happen. But I have to do what I have to do in order to live in this world. So Rabbeinu B'chaya, the same is true when we're working, when we're doing whatever we're doing. We're doing the natural thing in order to bring a parnasa, but don't think for a minute that's what brings in your parnasa. We're just living in a world of teva. We're living in a world where the Rabbeinu Shalom put teva into the world and keeps controlling it. And therefore we have to recognize that everything we do, and people are so busy with this. People are so busy. We look at the business I built up. My brains, I know the economy, I know the stocks, I know the supply and demand. I figured it all out. Me, it's all about me. No, it's not. It's nothing to do with you. Avada, hishtadlus you have to do. We're living in a world of hishtadlus, we need to do hishtadlus. But don't think for a minute it's because of you. And it's such an important hashkafa to know. Whenever a person goes out to the working world, whether he's going out to work for good, whether he's going out to work in the summer, whatever it is, it's not your effort that yields the results. It's the Rabbeinu Shalom's gzeira that you're going to make a certain amount this year. I want to end with a Mordecai Maisa. It's a kleine Maisa, but I think it's a Maisa that exemplifies this exactly. So sometimes the Rabbeinu Shalom sends me a Maisa. I'm about to give a share on this. I'm thinking I need a Maisa, I need a story. So I don't often take taxis. Very, very rare that I take a taxi. I like walking home to yeshiva and back, a little bit of exercise, it's geschmack. But one day last week I was feeling extremely schwach. I took a taxi home, and here is the taxi driver, right? Every taxi driver has got a lot of ashkafas to talk about. So this guy, because I got on the taxi, I said, I'm not going far, I'm just going to Oral Chanan. It's mamish, what, a couple of minutes drive, it's not a big deal. He says to me, why are you asking? I said, because sometimes taxis are very makbid, like, no, it's too quick, I need a bigger job. So he goes on a ramble. I don't even know how religious he is. I don't even know if he's religious. He was not wearing a yarmulke. No idea. I wasn't judging him. I don't know. It didn't look that religious to me. But he gave me a whole hashkafa. Some of these taxis are so busy with, on the halach of how to make more money. They stand over there, then they drive over there, then they go over there. Doesn't work that way. He says, I count my money only once at the end of the day. Whatever I'm going to get is exactly what the Rabbeinu Shalom wants to give me. No more, no less. None of my shticks are going to make any better, any worse. And he brings me a Maisa. He says to me, he was on a line of taxis. There were a whole line of, all these taxis. And he was like second on the line. Taxi in front of him, a woman came over to ask something from the window. Obviously, she got the answer no. And she came to my taxi, he says to me. So I asked her, he said, what happened to the taxi before? Why didn't he take you? It was a small job. He wouldn't take anyone under 50 shekel, and it was going to cost 20, 30 shekel, whatever it is. So he's not taking. So he said, I don't understand. Parnasa's parnasa, comes from Shemaim. Come into my taxi, I'll take you. He came out to 28 shekel or something like that. She gave me 50 shekel and she said, keep the change. The Rabban Shul wants you to have 50 shekel. You'll have 50 shekel. We have to realize the emunah pshuta of a yid is unbelievable. But we have to realize when we go into work, when we go into business, when we go into the office, it's the Rabbeinu Shalom that's giving our parnasa. Avada we have to ishtadlus. Avada we have to act be'emunah. We have to act properly in the correct way. Trust in the Rabbeinu Shalom. Do things al pi halacha. Make sure we have das Torah. Make sure we know what we're doing. Make sure we have kavei itim. Make sure we have minyanim. All the things that we've been discussing. And Be'ez Hashem, if we do that, all the bracha will come down through Shemayim straight in to our parnasa. Have an amazing day.